everyone, it's Dara. Thank you so much for joining me today. So for this video, I want to talk to you, the ESL student. Have you ever been in a class where everybody seems to understand what the teacher is saying but you? Well, this is very common. Why? Because every student learns at a different pace. Some students are more advanced, some students are not so advanced. And sometimes, even with all the great efforts, sometimes students from multiple levels of English skill will be put in the same class. So this is where you may feel a bit out of place. So for today's video, I want to just briefly discuss some ways in how you can cope with not feeling left out, and also ways that you can feel more confident in learning English and speaking English, even if your level of English skill is not like your classmates. So you're sitting in the ESL classroom. The teacher's talking, maybe the group of students is talking amongst themselves or listening, and you start to feel a bit uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable because, one, you're trying to understand what the teacher is saying. Now, for a lot of ESL students, what they do is they try to translate what they're hearing in English and translate it in their native language so they can better understand what's being said. However, sometimes in doing that it can be very tricky and very difficult, and by the time you finally understand maybe one sentence the teacher said, she might be on something else and you're still translating in your mind. Now let's say if the teacher calls on the class to answer a question. Majority of the students have their hands up and they're ready to answer this question, and you are just sitting there scared. Maybe the teacher will ignore those students and call on you. So and so, do you have the answer to this question? This usually happens. Maybe before you answer the question, your classmate might say, "Oh, teacher, blah, 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 blah." They answered the question already. Now, in some cases, you're like, "Phew," right? Because you don't have to worry about answering this question. But some teachers, and I'm that teacher, if teachers see that going on, what they try to do is they try to get that quiet student to talk. So they may in fact do two things. The teacher might say, "Okay, class, please be quiet. I want so-and-so to answer this question." If that happens, you might feel very nervous. One advice I would give to you is, first, take a deep breath. Honestly, taking a deep breath before you say anything really helps relax the body naturally. The second thing you want to do is, if the teacher is asking you a question, and let's say you're still not sure, it's okay to say, "Excuse me, teacher, I'm not sure your question. Can you repeat, please?" Or, "I'm sorry, teacher, I'm not sure what you're saying. Can you explain, please?" There are many different ways that you as a student can ask your teacher to repeat herself or himself, or to explain what they want you to do. Let's say, in a different scenario, the teacher puts you all in a group assignment. So now you're with your classmates. You might feel a little more relaxed because guess what? It's not the teacher asking you directly the question or giving you an assignment. You're working with your classmates. Seems easy, right? Not so fast. Now you're working on your assignment, everybody's talking, whether they're talking in English, which is preferred, but sometimes students will break into their native language, but everyone seems to understand what's going on. They seem to know what to do for this assignment, and you're sitting there really lost. What usually will happen is some students will just sit there and be quiet and let their classmates do all the work. Another thing you want to do is ask your classmates. You can go to that classmate who you feel has maybe a strong English skill and you feel comfortable talking to, and you can just ask them, "Classmate, I'm having a difficult time. Can you help me?" Or, "Classmate, I'm not sure what's going on," or, "I don't understand. Can you help me?" The other thing what some students do is, if they're feeling shy and everyone's talking and able to do the work, that student will just sit there and watch. And that's it. And when it's time for the group to present their assignment, that same student will just sit there and watch. Some teachers, and I was one of those teachers, where we would walk around the classroom. We would actually stand by and just kind of listen to what's going on. If you are sitting there too quietly and you're not participating, the teacher may or may not join in on the conversation, or might stand and ask you what's going on, or how's it going, or please. So there are different techniques that as teachers we do to make sure that the students are participating in the class or in the lesson. But again, you're a shy student. Your English level is not the same as your classmates. You're feeling uncomfortable about that. Maybe you are feeling embarrassed that you don't want to ask for help. A lot of times what I've seen in most ESL classes is students are willing to help each other. And part of the reason for that is you're all learning together. And no student wants to feel embarrassed. No student wants to feel left out. So I can almost guarantee that you will find someone in your group or in that classroom that will be willing to help you with whatever questions you may have. And you don't want to solely rely on this, because you are working with your classmates and maybe the answer they give you may not be correct, but it's all about student learning. So don't feel too uncomfortable going to your classmate and asking him or her to assist you. There will be times where, depending on the lesson, depending on what the teacher is talking about, you may not understand, and it may not have nothing to do with English level. It just could be whatever the teacher is discussing. So you don't want to focus too much on, I'm at a level 2 and this student's at a level 4. You don't want to do that. If you do that, you will start to feel so uncomfortable that you will not participate in the class. You will not be willing to practice your English. You will just sit there and be quiet. The teachers are there to assist you, but they can only assist you. The classmates are there to assist you, but they're only there to assist you. You have to also do your own work. Now, this is a part that most students don't want to hear, so I apologize in advance. But you have to be willing to do your own work. If you're feeling uncomfortable, it's your responsibility to say something. And saying something doesn't mean, you know, you have to be angry or you have to yell out in the classroom and say, hey, everybody, I don't know. No, you don't have to do that. But it is your responsibility to at least ask for help. Excuse me, teacher, can you repeat that, please? Excuse me, classmate, can you help me, please? Because if you don't say anything, here's the bad news, no one's going to know. And what's going to happen is the class will continue moving forward and you will be going backwards. So my advice to you is, yes, it may feel uncomfortable. Yes, you may not feel comfortable telling your teacher that you don't quite understand, or you don't quite feel comfortable asking your classmates for help. It's natural. It's human nature. But you also want to try your best to at least ask, because again, if you do not, then it will just only harm your English language journey, and you don't want to do that to yourself. Most importantly, coping in a classroom where everyone's level is different. This is very challenging, and I cannot stress this enough. When you're in a multi-level ESL classroom, I know, such a long title, it can be very, very challenging for both the students and the teacher. The teacher has to figure out how to bring everyone together, which is a challenge. The student has to feel comfortable with this process, because again, if everyone's here and you're here, it's going to affect you. Or if everyone is here and you're here, same thing. You might feel, the class is too slow. It's boring. I understand this. Why are we talking about this? So this is a challenging situation that a lot of ESL classes have, and a lot of teachers have, and a lot of students go through. But it is possible that everyone can come together if everyone's willing to work together. Then it doesn't have to be so up and down. So I hope these tips and advice has helped you today as an ESL student. And again, don't be too shy. Don't feel too uncomfortable. This is part of the learning process. And know that everyone learns at a different pace. And if your students are here and you're here and you're like, I don't know, just know one day you will be here and you may be able to help someone who is at this level. So don't despair. It will be okay. And let me just say very quickly that I do thank each and every one of you for taking the time to watch these ESL videos, because again, ESL teaching and motivation are my passions, and I do appreciate you taking the time to watching these videos. Thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.